The question that I want to ask you, I mean, you read it, you see, okay, there's an increase in risk if you obese. There's an
Yeah.
increase in risk if you a type 2 diabetic. There's an increase in risk if you drink a lot of alcohol. So there's all these other factors other than just the normal ones from the polyposis and the genetics and everything else. Um, do we think that that's the main reason why we see this younger age group developing more carcinomas, or what's the feeling in the field?
So the modern sort of theory goes according to is focusing on what we call the microbiome, which is the rainforest of bacteria in the colon. I mean, if you had to do a cell count, human versus colonic bacteria, we're actually just bags of colonic bacteria. They're exponentially more than we are in number of cells. And the constituents of those bacteria and what is feeding them, what they're feeding on, what they're producing, and that cycle of or biocycle inside the colon is probably the driver of a large amount of human pathology, to be honest. And the wall containing this microbiome is a very thin wall. And that's sort of the war zone of inflammation versus just normal mucosa. So, to your question, I think our diet, our lifestyle, our hormone levels, our BMIs, our weight, everything comes down to our diet, and because your BMI and your weight, it's all to a large degree that colonic content, and also how fast it does go through. So each cell on that colonic mucosa, how long is it sitting there exposed to carcinogens, and what is the concentration of carcinogens in the colonic lumen? And when you take it down to that sort of very scientific, call it statistical analysis, anything that makes your colon go slower increases your exposure time. Anything that increases the carcinogens in the colon increases your exposure time. So things like a high BMI, being overweight, your colon's going to be working slower because that patient is less active, so their colon is slower, so they have a higher possibility of mucosal exposure. I think the reason to your question why we're seeing a spike now, I think we're in an epidemic of processed foods. I think we are hyper processing our foods because that's what's cost effective to a company. It doesn't make sense to be unprocessed foods. It's difficult to store, it's difficult to keep, it's difficult to transport. And in that processing, we are probably creating carcinogens and we are reducing fiber. And I think the combination is why we are seeing so much more cancer. And if you look at the American Cancer Society, they have classified processed meat as a class 1 carcinogen. And it's based on this. So red meat is a class 2, processed meat is a class 1. So to your question, if you think about how much processed meat the modern diet includes, and I think you have the answer.
It's actually amazing how that plays into all diseases. And just, looking at your diet, looking at your exercise regime and all these things can improve a lot of medical diseases, can improve heart disease, metabolic syndrome, but also possibly reduce the risk of colon cancer.
Definitely risk. That's quite proven now. Physical activity reduces your risk by quite a large portion. It's like 30%.
And it almost fits that we talk about. The best pill that you can take is getting out of bed and exercising. I mean, that's our one thing. You can actually reduce your risk of dying early by 50% by exercising. But this is, and again, I always say we get like these little clinical pills for us as well. And that's actually, I didn't know that the bowel actually moves quicker with exercise, which is...
You should ask a runner.
yeah, which is great. I mean, and that is exactly why you do these things, is let it move quicker through. Yeah, amazing.